Hello guys, and welcome back to The Tell with Joelle. I am here with the one, the only Julia Garcia.
Hi everybody.
Hi, how are you today, love?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, doing great. So thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you making the drive down.
Of course.
I know you live in LA, correct?
Yeah, I do.
How was the drive today?
It was definitely a little bit rocky, not gonna lie.
Lots of traffic?
Yeah, people had places to go.
Yeah. It's always the worst when you get on the freeway and then people have like road rage or there's such bad traffic.
And my mom, she's like so on me about driver's ed. Like I'm scared for my life to start driving.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
That's crazy. So do you have your permit yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. That's okay. You're okay. Totally okay. Take your time. But no, it'll definitely give you that sense of freedom once you start driving.
I know, that's what all my friends keep saying. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I remember the very first time that it was when I was 18. I had booked a job and my mom was with me the first half of the week. And like it was, I think, a Wednesday that I turned 18. And the rest of the set days, I had to go by myself. I had to drive myself. I had to like sign all my own paperwork. And I was like, my mom has to like usually does like all of that stuff. I was like, I don't know what to do. It was like the scariest thing ever to transition into that.
Yeah, adulthood is definitely creeping up on me right now.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time. Like I said, I appreciate you a lot.
Of course.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you grew up, where were you born?
I originally grew up in Riverside.
Okay.
And I made that commute for a while because I am an actor and auditions are mostly in LA. So it's about like a 2-hour drive, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult, especially when I was younger, going to school and stuff. And then I tried homeschool, and that didn't really work out either. So,
are you back in school now?
I actually graduated early.
Oh, okay. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's so exciting.
I had enough credits to graduate, and I didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
Only because, you have to do a certain amount of hours when you're on set, and you have to. So
it's a whole process.
And then I would just get behind. So we pulled through, and we did it.
Good. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Of course. How long have you been doing acting for? When did you start your whole journey?
I want to say I started acting classes when I was like 4.
Oh, wow. So you were
5.
like really young.
Yeah. And then I didn't book my first national commercial until I was like 6.
Okay.
So it took a little bit, but
that's okay. I feel like people get like a million no's before they get that one yes.
Yeah.
It's at times discouraging, especially people just starting out. Like for me, I don't think I was signed until I was about like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
So nobody really briefed me on like the whole process of how everything works.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, for those of you that don't know, you're gonna hear no a million gazillion times before you hear that one yes.
Yeah, and that's with anything in the industry, no matter what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know, because you're a jack of all trades. She also does dancing, and you sing as well?
I actually don't, but you know what? I was at my callback yesterday, and this guy came up to me. We were paired together, and we had to go in the room, and he was like, "Are you a singer by any chance?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "You sound like a singer." And I was like, "Really?"
Your voice.
And I was like, "Oh, cool."
Well, so you do acting and then dance.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dancing I've done the longest since
Okay.
I was like 3.
Got you. Did you grow up in a studio?
I did, like a really small studio in Riverside.
Yeah.
Mostly ballet.
Okay.
And I didn't start hip-hop until like 4 years ago.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was definitely interesting. It's definitely a lot more chill and like fun, especially the teachers too.
Yes.
Because when in ballet, you have to be very respectful, and obviously that comes with any dance class, but giving feedback was like a whole new thing to me when I was like transitioning from ballet to hip hop. When I would take hip hop classes, like the beginning ones at like Playground or something, and they would be like, "Yeah, is everybody good?" And I would just be like,
well, they want us to talk in class.
Yeah, they want us to talk, and I was like, well, in ballet, you just kind of have to
Yeah, be quiet.
But then it wasn't until I want to say like 2 years ago where I started getting out of my comfort zone, and I was like, yeah, let's go.
I've done that before. I took a class at Brick House in New York, and the teacher had made a comment like, "Does everybody get it?" And I was like, "Yeah!" And like nobody else said anything, and like everybody like turned and looked at me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed right now." But I'm so used to like playground or like Millennium when the teachers are super like talkative, and so are the people in class. That's really funny. You said that.
No, yeah, it's definitely like you definitely get the looks, especially when you know the teachers.
Yes,
and it's like they're your
friends.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, let's do it one more time, and like you're just so like inclusive, and like you get people like
looking at you. No, yeah. I feel like moods are so crazy in class. I feel like there's certain classes that people like do not want to talk to you, do not want to communicate, like will give you dirty looks, and then there's certain classes I'll go take and people are like, "Oh my gosh, good job," da da da, and I'm like, it's like so weird. It's like the time, place. I feel like sometimes it depends on the teacher, like how they run the class. Have you ever experienced any of that, like going and taking class?
Yes, a lot actually, especially since I'm 16. Everybody's a lot younger, and when you start taking those kinds of classes where it's very competitive.
Yeah.
But then when I started going to class by myself and not really knowing anybody and having to learn how to have social skills, that I definitely started making a lot more friends that were older than me.
Yeah.
That are still my friends to this day, and just they're like, when they start talking to me, they're like, "Oh, how old are you?" And I'm like, "I'm 16. They're like, "No way. I actually thought you were like 20 something."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, really?" Like, that's so cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, yeah, but it's definitely when you get older, it becomes more chill and not so much.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it's almost like be the best.
Yeah.
Everybody's started somewhere. Everybody's been a beginner at something.
Absolutely.
So
you grew up like you're like a studio head. Yeah, you grew up at a studio. Did you compete with the studio ever?
I didn't. So they did do like in studio shows, like put on little performances and recitals. Exactly.
Got you.
And we did have a nutcracker, and it was fun.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I was like core ballet, and that was fun at like 13.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and everything just stopped, and I was like, I don't know what to do. But
yeah, how was that whole thing for you? Because I know
COVID?
You were acting. Yeah, you were doing everything at that time. So
yeah,
how was that?
I think it was hard for me. It was hard for everybody at that time. Everything just stopped, and
world turned upside down.
Yeah, and you start taking things for granted a little bit when you're so used to just even seeing people and socializing.
100%.
Even just going to the store. It was like, that was such a rare occasion that you could do. And you couldn't even go outside, and, you know, the masks and everything. And then you had to learn how to dance with masks when people started going out.
And that was hard.
That was hard. It was difficult.
I was struggling. I have asthma, so in case you didn't know, but I would have my inhaler and I'd have a mask on, and then we'd be in a hot, sweaty room with a million packed people, and I'm like, I can't breathe right now. I need to like go step outside. Even it was hard to learn.
Even when the studios had like the stickers of like where the
stand.
spacing, nobody listened. Nobody saw those. But.
Yeah, I had one studio I walked into, and they had like the squares. They had like literally like legit squares all over the floor. I was like, the floor was checkered. I was like stand in your square, and I was like, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Very different.
Yeah.
So with your acting and everything, what was that first job that really like took off for you?
I want to say the first job that took off for me, I want to say it was 11.
Okay.
And it was fun. It was chill. It was a little guest star reoccurring moment.
Yeah.
And then you start booking a little bit more. There is a little bit, especially with auditioning, you'll always get a little bit of an up and down situation where it's like you're like slow, nothing's really happening, you're getting all these no's, and then you get that yes, and then it keeps going yes, 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 and then sometimes it goes a little bit down, and so it's just kind of like the groove a little bit. I started when I was 11, when I booked my first really reoccurring job. That's when I started getting a lot of yeses.
And how was that being on set? Because how long were you filming for?
I want to say we would film weeks at a time, and then like 3 weeks at a time, and then 1 week like just off for hiatus.
That's nice.
So that would be fun.
And you weren't graduated at that time, yeah?
I wasn't. Still in school.
What year did you graduate? Was that recently?
It was last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So you were 15?
Yeah.
Nice. Proud of you.
Thank you.
Take us through that set life, because not a lot of people know what it is like behind the scenes. Like, take me through a regular day, like of when you would arrive, what you would eat, what they would provide for you.
Yeah.
Take me through that whole process.
You know, Crafty was my best friend.
Oh.
I love Crafty. If you don't know where I am, Crafty. But usually, if I was coming in from Riverside, my mom would have to drive at like 3 a.m.
Oh.
to LA, and we would just hang out in the car. Then I would sleep in the car, and then she would wake me up, and we usually had to roll in and check in on, I want to say 5 or 6, and then start school in an hour or 30 minutes. And you'd probably have to do school for either an hour before you could go to rehearsal, or just depending on what scenes they would rehearse first. And especially on a sitcom multicam, everything's very like you have rehearsal from this scene to this scene, then we have to call in these people. So sometimes it would be a matter of whatever was in rehearsal first, I would have to do school for however long, and then they would call me in.
And it's a total of 4 hours on set, is that correct?
Yes, I think so.
Got you, yeah.
So it was hard to keep up with school.
Yeah, I could imagine, because you were so young at the time too, and then having such a big part in like filming consistently over the course of months. How many months did you guys film?
Months? I want to say for like a season, it's about like a year.
And that's so crazy, because you watch something, like you could go watch something on Netflix, for example, and watch something in like a night or a week span. Yeah. And to think that it takes like an entire year to film that one season or that one. Crazy.